Thank you. Would you like to lead us? Do we have any corrections or additions to the minutes, or do we have a motion to accept them as presented?
So moved, approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Good. May we have the announcements from our manager, please?
I first wanted to announce that we are still looking for a zoning hearing board member. If anybody knows of anyone that is interested and would like to send in their qualifications for that. We're also looking for 2 library board members. We have 2 positions on the library board for Kennett Township, and they're both vacant at this time. I just wanted to state that there was a fire at Granite Ridge, which is the new development on McFarland Road, the apartment community. One of the buildings was set on fire last Monday morning and burned to the ground. So they're still investigating that.
Can you tell us who's doing that investigation, by the way?
The state police fire marshal.
It hasn't gotten to the county detectives or any of that stuff?
Not yet.
Okay.
They're trying to find anything they can to link it to what could have started the fire.
The fire marshal's the one they call usually anyway.
Right.
I'm sorry?
I said the fire marshal is the one that's usually called anyway if there's a question.
Thank you.
We had a parking study done at Penn's Manor because people were parking on the streets, which in that development, and the study did determine that there should be no on-street parking. It should only be in the designated areas. So the supervisors will have to enact an ordinance to prohibit the parking on the street in Penn's Manor. Our speed board sign that flashes and shows you what your speed is, somebody shot it. So we have to get it repaired. And it has to go to Canada to be repaired. So it won't be out for a while. Right now we have 3 draft ordinances online for review. The first one is to adopt the International Fire Code, which is part of the UCC, which is the current building code through the state. And one we haven't adopted is the International Fire Code, which our fire marshal has really pushed for us to adopt so that they have the right to inspect for safety and health hazards in buildings. So that's being advertised right now. It's on the website for review. And we plan to have it on the agenda in July. The next ordinance is Ordinance 221, which is now going before the Planning Commission and the Chester County Planning Commission, and it's to revise the Retirement Community Ordinance, which is Ordinance 197. So a draft is online. The Planning Commission and the Chester County Planning Commission have 30 days to review it and provide their comments. So that will not be on the July agenda. And the other ordinance that we're going to work on is the nuisance ordinance, which needs to be updated. So we don't have, right now, we have a draft of it, and we're going to work on making some changes to that.
Are we going to put together a parking ordinance for Penn's Manor?
Yes.
Okay, so that's in the process.
Right,
So that gives us 4 at this point.
right. And I wanted to announce that the supervisors had an executive session this evening at 6 p.m. to discuss the acquisition of real property. Okay. I'm going to read the police summary for the month of May. And this was prepared by Officer Knoll. The Kennett Township Police Department, in conjunction with Pennsylvania State Police, provided police services in 211 emergency police incidents within the municipality of Kennet during the month of May. The police department conducted 2 specialized details related to traffic and motorist safety. In partnership with the Chester County Intensified Law Enforcement Highway Safety Project, the Kennet Township Police hosted a sobriety checkpoint on East Balmer Pike and Lenape Road. The sobriety checkpoint impacted 927 vehicles, resulting in 14 investigations for impaired drivers and 7 driving under the influence arrests, 4 alcohol-related and 3 drug-related. The sobriety checkpoint furthermore includes the arrest of 2 actors for the possession of illegal narcotics and paraphernalia. The police department conducted traffic enforcement in partnership with Pennsylvania Aggressive Driving Enforcement and Education Project. The focus of this traffic enforcement detail was to identify and cite aggressive drivers. This project is a year-long project with numerous waves of enforcement being conducted throughout the year. The funding from this grant for the month of May allowed for 4 hours of enforcement, resulting in 13 traffic arrests. The municipality had been plagued during the month of May by a significant increase in vehicle accidents, which resulted in injury to the occupants. There has been a 68% increase in accidents during the month of May as compared to April. A recommendation has been made to continue the review of intersection safety, proper sign posting, and enforcement of aggressive, non-compliant drivers. During the summer months, it is recommended that the municipality support active police patrols to offset typical increases in crime rates that are linked with outdoor activity. Impaired driver enforcement, criminal trespass, burglary, theft, and theft from vehicle crimes tend to increase during the summer months. Just so you know, Officer Knoll, we just received another grant so that he can do a sobriety check in July on 2 different weekends.
Good.
Is there any pattern to the increase in vehicular accidents?
I asked him that, and he didn't seem to.
They were very low in April,
Yeah,
though,
he
so
didn't
maybe
seem
the
to think it-
statistics,
Right, there's no
Yeah.
cluster
Yeah.
around a certain intersection,
I
right?
haven't seen the data,
Okay.
No.
Right.
but April was very low.
So it may have
Yeah.
been the variant.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have anything on old business at this point. That we can bring up to at this meeting. Is there any update from the engineers as to the Chandler Mill Road Bridge matter that we should hear about?
The only update is that the township solicitor and I will be meeting with the county on June 25th to discuss the bridge, and we'll be able to report back at our July 2nd work session as to what occurred.
Okay. Is there anything else as far as old business is concerned that anybody recalls?
No.
Okay. Will you comment on Hillendale Bridge at some point?
I can say it now.
Okay.
The county found that there's a 8-inch hole, not a joke, in the Hillendale Bridge, located near Chandler Mill and Hillendale intersection. So today they went out and put a steel plate over the hole. They said that the concrete underneath the deck is eroding. So they're going to let us know what they're going to do. Yes.
I was going to ask about the Burnt Mill Bridge,
And that's another one I can update on.
but before I go into that, you and I spoke about that, Ms. Moore, and the response was, well, that's a PennDOT bridge.
It is.
We have very little control over that, and my concern being possibly that the Hillendale Bridge might be a PennDOT bridge.
It is.
Okay.
Well, it's a county bridge. I'm
County.
sorry. Burnt Mill's PennDOT, Hillendale's county.
Okay. More like Chandler Mill?
Chandler Mill's county,
Okay.
yes.
So we do have some influence on the future of the Hillendale Bridge.
Right, and as a matter of fact, the PennDOT contacted me, and they would like our input on Burnt Mill. They claim that they don't have funding at this time to fix it, and that it will be quite some time before they fix it, and they're going to have to apply for funding to fix it,
From whom?
federal funding. And they, in the meantime, they would like the township's input on what should be done with it.
It's novel. That they're looking to us for anything.
If there's anybody that's interested in, because that's sort of important to our local access, I'd be happy to participate in.
Good.
Anything you want to, comments you would like included, send them to me.
Maybe they'd be interested in a loan from the township.
I was going to say that.
I'm a banker, I always think like, what's the fastest?
You need to check their credit. I say 18%, we're off the top. How many billions of the
I'm
budget?
sorry, but
There's an election coming.
it's frustrating.
I understand that.
Bridges have become very quickly a major subject for this township.
Well, I'm sure all the flooding has something to do with that. We've had a lot of pressure on those bridges to be flooded as often as they have been.
Yeah, the one over Burnt Mill was 1935, is that what the document said?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nothing lasts forever, so I guess it should be a big surprise
No.
to them. And we had asked for prior inspection reports, because they're supposed to inspect them every 6 months?
Every 2 years.
2 years,
Which they gave us then,
right, and,
just from this year and then 2 years prior.
right. So,
Yeah, we have them if you want to see them.
I mean, my basic interest is they should figure out how to replace it.
I'm not quite sure what influence we will have on them for this bridge, because it's a state road, it's a state bridge.
They should fix it.
Our opinion is they should fix it the way it is. And
How about donation?
ask.
Well, it's worked in the past on TIPS, the TIPS program.
Mhm.
And this bridge issue is certainly, it's at least regional. There's another bridge that we're going to be facing, and that is the one down at 82 and Old Kennet Road, which is scheduled for being shut down and being rebuilt this year, I believe. So our concerns about bridges going bad and how that impacts the infrastructure, when I spoke about it last month, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, 2 weeks ago, was prophetic in some way. It certainly is an issue that we have to be concerned about.
Very quick question. Do we know why there's the construction barrels along Kaolin Bridge Road, Kaolin Bridge, red clay? It's a little disconcerting if they...
On the bridge itself?
Yeah, just sitting on the side.
Well, they had it there because they had to do some repairs.
Okay, so they are...
So that's why they're there. They also, they also have to do
Dilladale, Keola, Chandler Mill.
Forget about going to Delaware.
They also have to do some repairs along Kalen Road.
Yeah, it's getting bad.
Yeah.
And what's the status of Marshall Bridge Road's repair? That we're going to shore up the stream bed side, right?
Yes, that sort of got put on the back burner a little bit, trying to get some other projects done, but right now we're trying to finalize the design and put it out to bid.
It was because of the winter. It was too late in the season to be able to do the construction, as I
Right.
recall. Although we're well past that point now.
And I'm sure it's getting a lot more pressure from all the floods as well.
But our new engineering firm seems to have a different opinion on what could be done, which would save a lot of money, so it's good we waited.
Anything else in the area of old business? Then we have a couple of things we want to do with new business. First of all, may we have a resolution to pay the bills?
I move we pay our bills.
Sounds like a good idea.
Is that a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any opposed? No. So that passes. Thank you. And now, do you have any, on ordinance 220, is there an action that we need to take on that?
Ordinance 220 is the other ordinance that is online as a draft. And this ordinance adds provisions to our zoning ordinance for pool safety. So the ordinance currently will set the requirements per the International Residential Code as to what height, fences, gates, locks, things like that people have to put on pools when they are constructed. Pools constructed before a certain time don't have to follow any code. We just ran into that issue recently where somebody built a pool in 1975 and now he's in an HOA for all the houses that were built around, and the HOA wants him to have a fence around the pool, but we can't force him to have a fence because his pool was built before the code was in place, before a building code was in place.
I'm 1981. Where do I fit that?
Your pool?
Yes.
No?
Before or after?
I think that's after.
Okay. I put the holes in for the fence. Now all I
Yeah.
have to do is put the posts in and make a fence.
Yeah, well, in the other situation where you're at, there's not as many kids, but the other situation, there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood that possibly want to get in the pool, so.
Now, if I had anything to say about it, there's so many bodies of water within a mile of my pool that kids could drown in.
Right,
And we're not going to put fences around every,
no.
so, but I'm going to put the, and the reason to put the fence up is only because I want my homeowner's insurance.
Right.
The rest of it, I don't really care about that. Kind of nice place burns down to have homeowner's insurance.
Well, this ordinance is for new pools.
Okay, well, it should
Going
appear,
forward.
should apply to old pools.
Well, old pools, we can still go back and force them to put a fence up per the code, but this is just setting new standards
Okay.
so that people have to follow the new standards for pools. So all I'm asking tonight is for the supervisors to authorize to advertise this ordinance, and it'll be on the July agenda.
After it's revised.
Correct.
Yes, I so moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And aye from me as well, passes, thank you. I think that takes care of new businesses. Does anybody else have anything for new business? Okay. May we have the roadwork report, please?
The skin patching was completed with the co-op. 2 of the older township trucks are going to be placed on municipal for sale. Drainage material was ordered and is ready for installation, which will begin in the next week. The mowing of road banks started and intersections were cut to allow for sight distance. Milling and wood chips were hauled to residents who have called and scheduled delivery. Chester Water installed a new water main on Rosedale Road, which now completes the loop from McFarland to Woodview. This loop ties into the main from Byard Road. Drainage pipes around the township are being repaired and swales cleaned to open for water flow. They worked with the contractor of Granite Ridge during the paving of the entrances. They closed McFarland for short periods so the paving could be placed and then cooled for travel. Weaver Mulch has been in touch with the road crew about the grinding of the yard waste pile, which should occur in the next couple weeks. Secra will be bringing out another recycle dumpster because the ones that are there get too full too quick. The oil and chip surface treatment was done on Indian Springs, Cold Springs, and Raven Drive. After it sets a few weeks, it will be swept and the material will be sprayed on it to seal the stone and give it a dark color. The other thing on the gate for the maintenance garage was ordered, so it will be installed August 8th, so there will be an automatic gate that will shut at dusk and open at dawn. And the camera's being installed back at the yard waste pile in the meantime. The other thing is the PECO put in a gas line down McFarland for Richardson's Run property, you'll notice if you drive up McFarland, there's a rut in our road. PECO was supposed to put the gas line in going straight across. And Roger met with them that morning, and they were putting it straight across. Well, then they decided to run it all the way down McFarland, the middle of the lane. So now we have a big rut in our lane, so Roger is trying to get them to repave it. Because it really, if you drive up it, it really is a sizable rut.
We need to press with them on that. We need to exercise a great deal of influence on them, because I have driven on it, and you certainly can be caught and shaken in your vehicle. Or if you're on a motorcycle, you gotta be pretty good driver to follow that line up the road, and it's only about 8 inches wide. So my tires are 4 inches wide. So that's gonna give me a lot of movement without catching either curb of that rut.
Right. It's between Rosedale and Baltimore Pike. It's right in front of, it starts in front of Chatham Financial.
Yes, sir.
Driving in on Byard Road from the CVS down to Rosedale, that has got to get nominated for one of the worst sections of road in the township.
I was just saying that today.
Is that planned to be paved I mean, there's nothing but patch. There's no original road there.
That's actually a very good point. That's a horrible stretch.
And there's a number of accidents, as we all know, along there. I'm
Well,
not sure if that contributes to it or not.
Roger has that on the list to be paved next year,
Okay.
but he's trying to get East Marlboro to pave at the same time because the major portion of all the patches are in their township.
Got it.
So he's trying to get them to coordinate so that it can be the whole stretch paved,
Great.
because it is terrible.
Lisa, where does the line hit?
Right at Orchard Valley and Longwood Crossing, you know where,
Oh, yeah.
they're right there.
Okay.
Yes, Joe?
Just to let everyone know, when they repave it, speeds will increase another 10 miles per hour.
It'll be like a speedway.
Yeah, and with all those curves, danger becomes a different danger.
Thanks for your
Just
support.
saying,
Thanks for your support.
that's what happens.
It is. That's what happened on Greenwood when they paved that.
That's a nice straight road. though.
It is. It's even worse.
I mean, even the old ladies speed, older ladies.
Okay.
Well, the old ladies were passing beans.
That take care of road work?
So what is on the list for potential repaving this year?
It's the downside there, buddy.
Can I get back to you on that? I don't have
Sure.
that right in front of me.
It's okay.
Are there any escrow releases for
No.
subdivision extensions?
No.
Okay, then that brings us down to public comments. Yes, sir.
You're probably aware that the East Marlboro turned down the fire department for their requests, unlike what we did.
Which fire company?
Longwood.
Longwood.
Tomorrow morning, at the Longwood Rotary Club, AJ is going to be speaking. Good timing, I guess, what can I say, for programming him in then, but you're all welcome, anyone, we're always an open meeting, but he'll probably be addressing, issues like that. I don't know if he's going to speak specifically about East Marlboro, but he will have an audience of about 2/3 East Marlboro, and I already told him that, so he was aware of that demographics of his audience. So, again, you're welcome to come if you feel, so you've been there before, all of you, I think, except for Bob, but you two have been there for sure before.
The meeting starts at 6:30.
Good time to arrive at 6:30 a.m.
You do
Where is it?
you get a good breakfast.
Terrace Restaurant, Longwood Gardens.
Oh,
There'll be a Rotary greeter if they show up at the door to welcome you. And breakfasts are $14. You don't go for the breakfast, you go for the meeting and the camaraderie of Rotary.
Yeah.
You can sing a
definitely-
song, give a happy dollar.
You've been down the road. Yes, Joe?
I think I read, maybe I'm wrong, Did East Marlboro also turn down the library
No, that's Pocopson.
up at Copson?
But East Marlboro may have as well, but I'm familiar with Pocopson did it.
So these guys aren't stepping up,
No.
and does that mean we need to step up more? Or can we urge them
Well,
to participate?
I think as long as they get the service, they should participate.
well, absolutely, I think that's correct. On the library issue, Pocopson has taken the position that it's a question of what their fair share is, and they have always objected to what the county system has said, because the county system includes the prisoners in the prison and the people that are residents in the Pocopson home. And they're not using the library, but the library expects the township to count them as what has to be paid for on a fair share basis. So they've become more and more comfortable with going to Westchester Library rather than coming to Bayard Taylor. This is an issue that's been around since when I was on the library board, which was 10 to 15 years ago. So that's the Pocopson. Yeltsin, who writes articles or letters to the editor, has been a long-term naysayer of the value of the library to Pocopson. I think it's unfortunate, and I think that they ought to be a part of it. And so there's been some discussion at the Regional Planning Commission about that. So that continues to be a subject. As far as East Marlboro and the fire company, there was 4 months ago or 3 months ago a meeting, a regional meeting that included Newland, East Marlboro, as well as Pensbury and this area, in which AJ made a presentation about the fair share approach to fire company and particularly emergency services. And after that meeting, I had spoken to several people from Newland and from East Marlboro, and we all agreed that we were going to be keeping together and talking about this and trying to develop an approach to how to fund the needs of Longwood. I haven't heard from them recently. It certainly is an ongoing subject for the Regional Planning Commission, and it's on the agenda this summer to have a general meeting with the input from the various townships as to the questions needing to be answered and how to properly evaluate what is being requested of us. And that hasn't happened yet, but it is being planned to have that kind of meeting. So I'm surprised to hear that East Marlboro has gone forward and taken action. Last night, was it, that you said?
I just read the paper.
It was
recently.
last Monday,
It was in the paper.
Last Monday. Well, it's unfortunate. I know Pensbury is struggling with the same question. Pocopson is quite concerned about it. Yelton did an evaluation that he presented as to how to figure out the dollars, and I know that our Business Advisory Committee is working on this issue as well. So I think it's premature for East Marlboro to have acted, but I've got very little to say about it. But I'm hopeful that they will be open to taking part in these further discussions. East Marlboro is not a part of of the Regional Planning Commission. They used to be, but years ago they withdrew from it. But they did want to be kept advised and to be involved in any discussions that we had. So in that regard, they were considered themselves back in the group.
Sorry to interrupt you, but they do get serviced by Longwood.
Yes, as I understand it, they provide services to, Longwood provides services to East Marlboro
So I'm
Township
seeing some
residents.
freeloading,
Well,
perhaps.
if they don't pay anything, then certainly that would be a logical conclusion. It would be interesting to see how East Marlboro would define it. That they might say that they have provided, but they may not have provided nearly as much as what is being proposed. It's the same kind of issue as Pocopson and the library. They provide something, but they don't provide in a proportionate and reasonable amount from the perspective of those who, such as this township, which enacted a library tax to support the library. Pocopson turned that down. Yes?
I live in East Marlboro, and I'm served by Kennett Fire Company, and then a lot of the East Marlboro people are Pomarlin Fire Company, and then some are Longwood. So I don't know what they're giving to, they are supporting the other fire companies, but it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a fire that I reported on 2 weeks ago that occurred in Pocopson, and there were 9 different fire companies that showed up. This was in Pocopson, and that included Longwood, and included Cochranville, and included Oxford, as well as Westchester. So when there's a fire, everybody kind of shows up. But I'm pretty confident in saying that Longwood has a jurisdictional responsibility to East Marlboro.
They do, it's a certain percentage.
Yeah.
And they have areas, don't they? They have it marked, because when we
Yeah,
called, Pomarlin wouldn't come, but
they have
Kennett was our
fireboxes.
man,
They
yeah.
call them.
Are there any other comments or questions or matters for discussion by the audience? Sir?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up something in regards to mosquito control. Do you mind if I stand up front? I want to just address everyone.
Wherever you would like to.
You have a microphone.
Yeah, let me grab the mic.
And your name is?
My name is Zach Johnson. I live in Landenberg. I run a mosquito pest control company, Eastern Control Services, and I'm here to discuss the lack of mosquito control in the township, in Kennett Township and the surrounding townships as well, but obviously this is just Kennett. But yeah, there's the lack of proper supervision, control, and maintenance in order to prevent the outbreaks of mosquitoes, transmission of mosquito-borne illnesses, and to take initiative in establishing an active mosquito prevention and maintenance program as a solution to this concern. An active mosquito prevention program is a supervision of the mosquito target areas, breeding grounds, points of congregation and their inhabitants, and the surrounding properties and communities that are at high risk of mosquito exposure. A systematic assessment of the target areas and the best solutions to be implemented, correct and precise implementation of the solution from start to finish, detailing and measuring all actions taken and logging the data every time for analysis and auditing purposes, and utilizing safe solutions for the environment and for the people. Is the need for mosquito control sufficient in this area? And that's a yes. That's an absolute yes. The need to prevent even one fatality is always present, and as unsettling as a thought as that may be, the worry and concern to prevent that from happening needs to be as strong, in my mind. And also, there has been an outbreak of a disease, chikungunya, which is spread by 2 species of mosquitoes, and I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with that. Unlike, you always hear yellow fever, malaria, it's always a problem. Chikungunya is a very painful joint infection that's been making a boom here in the USA, and our area, the mid-Atlantic region, is very ripe and susceptible to a mosquito outbreak. So I'm here to kind of address that situation. more or less. But also, the Chester County Health Department is supposed to be in charge of mosquito control. Every township I've talked to, they say, go talk to the Chester County Health Department. So when I talk to the Chester County Health Department, they explain to me that they only do mosquito control if there's a certain number of complaints from an area. And at that point, in my mind, that's way too late. Way too late. So, if it being too late, it's a put it on a back burner approach that never works. And the Chester County Health Department, the gentleman that runs the department, I believe, he does the mosquito control himself. He has his own truck and so forth, and I believe he funds his own little business to do so. And that's not active control. That is, wait for the complaint, then take action. And that's what we want to prevent. That's what I'm here to prevent. London Grove Township, they have someone that they contracted for mosquito control. And I asked them why they have someone, why they budgeted for mosquito control rather than deflecting responsibility to the Chester County Health Department, and they saw it as their responsibility to take care of the people in their township, and not to just transfer the responsibility to the Chester County Health Department for the exact reasons I'm saying. They act way too late. So why hasn't Kennett Township or the surrounding townships taken initiative themselves? Well, it's always been a matter of budgeting, a budgeting dilemma. And in my mind, health concerns of this nature should not be based strictly off of budgeting concerns. We're talking about health, not money. And I can assure you that I'm not here looking for budgeting money. I'm looking for more or less a permit, a certification, a type of piece of paper labeling me and my company in charge of mosquito control in this township. Being located in Kennett Square, right on Baltimore Pike, we are the quickest able responders. We can act at any hour of the night, of the day, rather than waiting for the Chester County Health Department to come and take action. We have top-of-the-line equipment, better than what the Chester County Health Department does, and all they do is fog. Well, we have a top-of-the-line fogger, but again, that's just a wait for the call and blast. And that's, again, I don't think is a proper approach to the solution, rather than actually actively monitoring the stations, the breeding grounds of the mosquitoes and so forth. Other than that, I just want to say that, again, I'm not here to look for budgeting money. I'm here for, to gain permit. I don't know if that would be taken up with the solicitor or so forth, but there is a lack of mosquito control, and that's evident, and I would like to ask for permission to further discuss taking charge of that at some point. I have contact information I can also give you as well.
Yes, I think that'd be very helpful. I haven't heard of any concerns being expressed about mosquitoes, which is not to say that I'm not offering that in contradistinction to what you said. But I would appreciate that you would speak to Lisa Moore with how to reach you and with some background about you and your company. And if you could provide her with some explanation as to why you think that there is a particular need at this point in the township, and then we can look into it and see how we ought to proceed.
Absolutely. I'll be more than happy to do that.
Did you have a question or a comment you wanted to make?
Well, I don't think anything relevant at this point. Thanks.
Background from my company, by the way, we started off controlling for the mushroom farms. We take care of the majority of the mushroom farms in the area, almost all of them. We control the mosquitoes and insects around the mushroom farms. They got cracked down on by the EPA because they were affecting everyone around them. So we took initiative and got our licensing and insurance and started controlling for the mushroom farms. Now we've branched out. We're residential, pest control and so forth, but we specialize in mosquito control. So that's why I wanted to take initiative on this. So
What's the technique or techniques that you use to deal with mosquitoes? I assume you're not using DDT, so what are you doing?
Well, we do have a fogger that can be utilized when necessary and if needed. Briquettes, granules, traps, the whole 9 yards, rather than just the fogging. For example, if Kennett Square Country Club, the golf course, well, when I talk to them, they don't have anyone monitoring mosquitoes on the golf course at all. So, and they actually said that it's your responsibility to do so.
Well, they're in East Marlboro.
East Marlboro,
Yeah.
The Kennett Country Club is?
Yeah.
All right, so then I'll have to bring it up then. But for example, so they deflect the responsibility of mosquito control on their golf course to the township, who then deflects it to the Chester County Health Department, who does nothing. So that affects surrounding areas, people on the course, and there's just nothing being done.
And what's the cost for this?
Cost is so cheap. It's so cheap. That's why I'm not here. That's why I'm not really here to present any budgeting concerns. Say if we were to treat the golf course, it'd be $100, $200. If-
A what, a
if
week,
that.
a day, a month, a year?
A month. Every 30 days. And that, that's active monitoring. I mean, for me to go to a course, for me to inquire townships, communities, people, I'm not looking for a payment on that. That's part of my active keeping tabs on the situation. When need be, if I need to take care of a pond, treat a pond, fire up the fogger, and so forth, that is not expensive. Once again, I don't want to present any budgeting concerns for that.
But see, for example, the township doesn't own any ponds. All the ponds in the township are within developments. So
And would require them to put mosquito
yeah, and we
kicks in,
can't,
yeah.
it's not our responsibility to treat their ponds, nor should we treat their ponds because they're private property.
And that's kind of my main concern, is that there's just a deflection of responsibility.
Well, I'm not trying to deflect, it's just that
Transfer.
it's private property, it's not our property.
I know there is, myself, breeding grounds other than just private properties. There's got to be.
No, I'm just saying, I was just thinking of ponds, for example, that mosquitoes.
If there's a pond in a neighborhood, that's something I would take up with the neighborhood, homeowners association and so forth. I'm just more or less, once again, here to try and gain permission to keep tabs on the township. Again, I'm only here to look out for everyone else. I'm here to look out for you, your pets, your children, wives, and it's something that I can do effectively. Again, not looking for money. Looking for a permit to go onto properties, go keep tabs on things, and so forth, and if need be, address obviously private properties and so forth. But having you guys behind me would help take care of that situation. If I go into a neighborhood and they have a pond and they're not really taking care of mosquitoes in the area, no one wants to, I think that's something that should be addressed, and having proper permit certifications, anything from you guys would help back me up and take care of that solution for something bad does happen. And it's not a matter of if, it's when.
Is there a requirement on the homeowners association and other pond owners to provide some sort of services such as this young man is describing?
Well, through the county, they're supposed to provide mosquito control,
Through the county?
but we don't monitor that.
Okay. Joe?
Yeah, Joe Duffy. I'm an environmentalist. Obviously, you're proposing a pesticide of some sort. Do you have data on how this will affect the amphibian population? Because I think that's the first line of defense. The frogs eat the eggs of the mosquitoes.
Every solution that we have, including the fogger as well, all very environmentally safe and safe for all aquatic life, plant life, and animal life.
It only affects the mosquitoes.
Of course, I wouldn't recommend licking the briquette.
Right.
Bob, okay.
Yes, Bob?
Two quick questions. One is,
But you could, before, thank you. You can provide data on that.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Thank you. Would you?
are mosquitoes
A
known?
binder, actually. Yes, sir.
Have mosquitoes ever been tied to Lyme disease as a carrier or a spreader?
No.
like the ticks?
Ticks, deer ticks.
Yeah. And what's your address on Baltimore Pike?
1290. The company, the owners of my company, they put me in charge as CEO. The owners of the company, Anthony and Nick Leone, they own Mushroom Central right on Baltimore Pike. You may notice the mushroom-shaped bushes out there.
I just see if you're in East Marlboro or truly in Kennett Township. I think you are.
Right there on
Kennett
East, yeah, right there on East Baltimore Pike.
Township. Well, a great deal of Baltimore Pike
Long.
is East Marlboro, but if you're on the Longwood side, it sounds like you are, because there's 1,000.
Where is
Right,
it?
the intersection of East Baltimore and Newark Road.
Oh, no, that's not us. That's Newark.
That's where I'm
You're
located.
in
Yeah,
New
that's New Garden. That's where our company's located though.
Okay.
House the
I
trucks.
thought you were out by 52 or something with that address, but no, you're the other direction.
Right in the center, yeah. Once again, that lends us the ability to respond quickly, keep, tabs here on the township and so forth. And I want to stress again that it is safe environmentally for aquatic life, plant life, animal life. There are very strict regulations from the EPA on what to use, what products can be used, the amounts that they can use them, which is why we've invested in the best equipment possible to prevent any excessive treatment and so forth.
I suggest you write an article for the newsletter.
That would be a good suggestion, very helpful. You're on that committee, aren't you?
No, I chose not to be.
Oh, okay, okay. Well,
Can I ask a question?
in 1 second, but I just, on his suggestion about doing an article, why don't you talk to Ms. Moore about that? Because I think that would be good for you, it would be good for us, and it would be very helpful. Yes, Jeff.
My question is, does the CDC recognize this as an issue in the Americas?
Yes, yeah.
Not according to their website.
Well, actually,
As of June.
they are just now starting to do the CCD. They're, what's the name of the county? They're starting to fall.
June 17th, they update it weekly. There's nothing in North America.
In terms of
Uh,
the need,
Chicken onion cases,
the chicken onion,
or however you pronounce it. So before we put something out, we should make sure that that's
I
some
mean,
credibility.
anything in the newsletter should be informative. It shouldn't be an advertisement for any
Right.
particular company or group, I think.
the only cases I believe of the people that
Travel
traveled,
somewhere and gotten it somewhere
came
else.
back. The only concern is that the two of the mosquito species that carry the disease, the one that is the main transmitter, the Asian tiger mosquito, are found all along the East Coast, but they are all located right
But
here.
there have been no reported cases.
No reported cases?
No reported cases by a mosquito bitten in this country.
Correct, yeah, and I don't want any to be reported.
Understand.
Yeah.
Just so we don't overblow it.
My suggestion was not to be, I'll call it, put fear of people, but just people who would like to know, be reminded to take care of, water that's just puddling. Some of the more logical things that come to mind that people need to be reminded of from time. An article like that with no,
Absolutely, yeah. Things like having a potted plant outside with the trays underneath, things like that. Some people aren't really aware
well, people don't
of
think of
those
that.
things.
That's the type of thing that an article would be appropriate for. Is
Yeah.
what can the individual homeowner do to
Absolutely.
lower the amount of mosquitoes in their property?
I think that's actually a great idea and definitely help inform
And
people.
that would
So I'm
figure.
going to leave it up to you to contact Ms. Moore. And thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Indeed.
Thank
For the
you.
questions as well.
Is there anything else from the group that would like to?
Let me.
I'll give you my.
It's a very disrespectful crowd, you have to understand.
It's got to be a rough crowd. I don't want an easy one.
Anything else from anybody? Yes, sir.
As far as the police report, when they, talk about stops, and apparently we're going to have more in the area, I wonder if you could be a little more informative as far as stops for drugs, and what kind of drugs are involved, and what kind of paraphernalia is involved. And I say that only because it's possible this could be a canary in the coal mine, indication that there may be some issues in the township, other than drinking.
I can ask him to expand on that.
Thank you.
I do know heroin's very
Are you suggesting this should be done before those stops are made?
No,
No, he's saying in his report.
Just in the report?
absolutely, just in the report.
I can ask him to do that.
Okay. Anything else? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.